Welcome back, HITV Cooking Corner. We're getting complicated today. It's holiday. You might be asking yourself, what the hell is he wearing? Well, just wanted to know that I'm so high. At least that's what I was doing when I bought this thing. But I just wanted to be flexing my ethnicity. Along the lines of this subject of my ethnicity is my mom's apple crumble pie secret recipe. I can't believe I've held on to it for as long as I have. She gave it to me in 1985 when I was living in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And I had it in these old notebooks, and I've lost it and found it and lost it and found it. And then I found the pages and I put them in my phone in my notes. They're really hard to see. I deciphered them and I've gathered all the ingredients together, and I'm just happy to have it digitally. So I'm going to be accessing it during the video. So let's just show you what it takes to make my mom's secret apple crumble pie. I'm sharing that with you. Let's make it live. It's HITV Mom's Secret Apple Crumble Pie Recipe. So what we have is 6 apples. You need Fuji's. Make sure they're nice and hard. We've got some green Pippin apples. Combined taste of these 2 apples is very sweet and a little tart. We have brown sugar, white sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, some lemon juice, 1/4 cup of chopped pecans, 1/4 cup chopped walnuts, regular flour, a little salt. You need a rolling pin because we're going to make our pie crust from scratch. Need some measuring cups. We just got these really cool brass measuring cups. I think as we get more and more into this cooking business, gonna get some fun tools. My favorite stirring spoon is pewter. Got to have some muscle. A nice knife to chop some apples. Pie crust, cooking glass, cooking pie, whatever you call it. Couple mixing bowls, some chopping blocks, and you're gonna need some fuck to give. This is not an easy thing to make, but it's not hard either. We also need some butter. So we're softening the butter up right now for these recipes. I just put them in our Lodge pan on the top of the stove, and they're just softening up on their own. You need the butter to make the pie crust, and you need the butter to make the crumble. We're gonna start preparing the apples for the inside of the pie. I'm feeling kind of off. I might have eaten a bad piece of sausage or something because I had a moment earlier where things didn't go so right in Trader Joe's bathroom. But thank you, Trader Joe's, for always having a nice bathroom. I'm just pulling it together. Sensitive flour today. I'm sorry for taking it out on you, Maya. I love you. Sweet as pie. Let's start with the inside of the pie, the apples. As always, it's a good idea to wash your hands, which involves soap and water in case you didn't know how to wash your hands. Now, what we're gonna do, you might have different ways of doing this. I just slice off the skins. Don't get too crazy with it. We're gonna be cutting up 5½ apples for the inside. Comments down below for our cooking show. We want comments down below. And you can like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, yeah. I'm wearing a chai, but my family, we don't really celebrate too much of Hanukkah, We assimilated to Christmas many years ago. Hanukkah takes a lot of energy. Christmas one day, and tree's always fun. And my dad's been married a few times, so we just sort of became American, let's just say. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I don't know if any of you noticed, it's been a very tense holiday season. Felt kind of blah. Not much spirit here in Los Angeles. Not like I don't know, maybe has there ever been less? Yeah, there's been spirit. But, you know, it just feels a little bit gray. That's why we're bringing the pie. We're bringing the pie and we're bringing the chai. Okay, how many apples is that? 3 apples? How do you like them apples? You want to have them cut pretty small because you're going to pack these in the crust. Larger slices, it's a little harder. But you don't want them too small. It's a good mix of decent sized chunks. Too small is no fun either. You know, one wants to eat little mushy slices of apple. You want something in your mouth, right? We're going to save these, and I like to add like honey and cinnamon or caramel. It's a nice treat in itself, so it's not wasted. In case you were out there thinking, why are you wasting all that apple? I'm not wasting it, okay? Just casting all that shade on me. It's still good. Valentino likes it. Look. All right, we're gonna move on. Let me refer to my mom's secret recipe. We add a tablespoon of lemon juice because that keeps the apples from getting brown during the process. If you have a Carrera marble countertop like I do, you should be careful not to get lemon juice on it. It actually will burn your countertop. It's always nice if you have a marble countertop to have some chopping boards to protect your countertop as you're cooking. Just a little side note. So what we have here is a tablespoon of lemon juice. You know, you could have had your lemon juice all pre-prepared, you know, like some of these fancy schmancy cooking shows, but we do things on the fly here in the cooking corner. Lo-fi, on the fly. Put a little lemon juice on there. Mix it up. I'm going to start adding some ingredients. 1/2 cup of white sugar. 1/2 cup of white sugar. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. 3 tablespoons of flour. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Boop. And we're gonna have a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I only make the apple pie once every couple years, so I'm gonna be looking at my recipe to make sure I don't fuck it up. It's not a cheap pie. These Fuji apples, they're 89 cents a piece, so you do the math. It's a fine pie. We got a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. We didn't even know we had the nutmeg. There it was. This is everything that goes in the apples, the interior of the pie, and you just mix it up. I think if you get enough exercise in life, you can have whatever you want. Really, you just, you know, there should be balance. If you're constantly going around depriving yourself of know this, know that, you know, I think it's not easy. It's a difficult thing to strive for, to try to have balance. But I mean, is it any more difficult than constantly trying to quit? It's a different sort of struggle, balance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it in the fridge. There you go. There we go. It's safe. Our cooking corner. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna work on the crumble, which is the delicious part of the apple crumble pie that you put on top of the pie. We have our mixing bowl. And we're gonna start with 3/4 cups of flour. They don't have a 3/4 cup thing, damn it. So, that's 3/4. We have 1/2 cup of nuts, already measured out. 1/4 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna add just a little bit more brown because that's kind of loose pack. And I like brown. Now what we do is we add 1/3 cup of butter. Check out what I've been doing. I just have kept it sitting in my Lodge pan. Ooh, it's nice and soft now. trying to figure out what 1/3 a cup of butter is, and I didn't want to have to jam it in a 1/3 a cup measuring spoon. So I looked on the butter and it doesn't really clearly say it. Hey Siri, how many sticks of butter is 1/3 of a cup?
I found this on the web.
I found this on the web. Hey Siri, can't you just tell me what 1/3 a cup of butter is?
There are 5.26 tablespoons in a 3 cup of butter. This answer is from reference.com.
1/3 a cup is 5.33 tablespoons. Thank you, Siri, for that information.
Sure thing.
If you can see, it has markings on the butter, and you'll have a 5 tablespoon stick. So we'll just kind of go 5, and we'll cut it with a knife. I'm going to give myself a little bit extra. I'm not going to kill us to have a little extra butter. It's nice and soft now. What you're going to do is you're going to take the butter, drop it in there, and then you're going to get your mixing spoon. If you have a food processor, this makes your life a lot more simple. We don't do simple here in the cooking corner. We do caveman. You never know though. Maybe after a while of doing this cooking stuff, maybe we'll get sponsored. I know that there's an estate sale coming up, and I saw a KitchenAid mixer at the sale. If you happen to know somebody at KitchenAid and they want to sponsor the show, comments down below. Comments down below for the cooking show. All right, so you're just gonna mix it and it'll become like a paste, like a kind of a cookie dough in itself. So here's the crumble, what it wound up looking like. You can feel the texture, it's moldable, and it's really sweet and yummy. We're gonna put that to the side, and then we're gonna move on to the crust, the homemade pie crust. You don't have to flex and make your own pie crust. It's a lot easier to just buy your own pie crust. But since we're attempting to do, are you all right, Valentino? He loves that homemade dog food. Since we're doing a cooking show, got anything in my nose? We're gonna make pie crust from scratch. So let's get on with it. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to make homemade pie crust. A little nervous. So what you do is get a mixing bowl and you get 1 1/4 cups of flour to start. 1 1/4. What we'll do is we're going to add in about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just mix that up. Woo! Getting a little disco there. And once more, 1/3 a cup of butter. You'd think with all the 1/3 cup recipes, they'd have 1/3 cup markings on there. This is about 5 1/2 tablespoons of butter. I like to use my hands to cut in the butter into the flours because it's kind of just the easiest thing to do. You want to get it in there. They'll start becoming little globules. You just get your fingers in there like a caveman. It kind of feels nice. I'm cutting it in. Cutting it in. You can use cooking fat if you have that. Butter is better, I guess. I don't know. In the West Coast, we're not really down with the Crisco that much these days. So we go with butter. I was trying to get some lard, but they didn't have it at Trader Joe's. And I asked my favorite cashier there, who I've known for 20 years, who turns out is a chef. I can ask her for chefing advice. She started laughing when I said, "Do you guys have any cooking fat here?" She said, "What, you mean like Crisco?" Does anybody remember Crisco? It was in this big blue can, and you shovel it out, and this looks like this large white mass. Well, this is actually, come over here, look how easy this is. I'm just cutting it in, and it's all nice and cut in. You know, just not any fancy tools. Don't need any KitchenAid or Cuisinart. Just use your fingers. What's wrong with your fingers? An amazing piece of machinery, the human fingers. Look, that's done. That's cut in. Easy. We're going to add in some water to our mixture here, and you're going to mix in about a quarter cup of water, about a tablespoon at a time. So you just kind of get in there. You just want to get the mixture wet using my kitchen paddle. Keep adding it in until it's a little moist. A little bit more. Have a ball. Look at that. We have our lump of homemade pie. You don't have to have any sugar in your pie crust, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know, a little sugar is not going to hurt. The pie is going to be really sweet as it is, but what do you say we add just a little bit of sugar to this? Yeah. I'm going to go brown sugar because I like brown sugar. Don't you? Just going to go about 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And I'm going to get it in there and mash it in. Look at that. We're going to get into the actual magic of making this into a pie crust. It's raining outside. Now we're going to get a surface and we're going to flour the surface, cutting board. Give us a nice working area. Could do it on the Carrera, but this is a little more controlled and you can see what we're doing on camera. And what we have here is we have this, and we're going to start flouring that. You're going to just sort of pat it out, get flour on both sides. Look at that. It's going to be a crust before you know it. We're going to have a pie, and oh, those pies. We're going to give it as a gift to my family. My brother Mike doesn't know I'm making the pie, and he's not going to be happy because he said he's making some sort of cake. All right, so what we have is now we're going to just start rolling this out, right? We're going to get a little more flour on there. We're just going to start rolling it out. Woo! You roll it out. It's pretty wide. The way you make sure this is the right size for your pie is you take your pie cookware. What do you call that, Maya? Your pie dish, your pie cooking dish, and you place it over this, and you say, "Is that enough?" Almost, pretty close. And then what you do is you take your rolling pin, right, and you get the pie crust around the rolling pin. Roll it up onto the rolling pin, like so. Then you take Pyrex. I'm just going to add a little butter on this, just so, I don't know, I'm nervous that it's going to stick. Probably don't need to do this, but I don't want it to get stuck. And I just add a little flour to the bottom. Now what we do is we're going to take this pie crust and we're going to lay it on top of our pie dish. Whoa. You're going to take this and you're going to sort of turn it under itself a little bit on the edge. And the thing about our cooking show and HIT is that nothing's perfect. Perfect is for the AI, with human intelligence, the things that are not perfect. And we're going to love it. It's called wabi-sabi. The Japanese like to make things that are perfectly imperfect. I'm going to do this little scalloped edge. Gives it a little decorative element. Just kind of pinch it a little bit. What do we think? Looks like a pie crust. Getting ready to make our pie. Our crust, crumble the interior of the pie. Here's what we do. My cooking paddle. And shovel in our apples with the beautiful, just spread them out. Whoa, plenty of room. Haven't made a pie with the crust from scratch in a long time. I usually am in a rush and I just go buy the pre-made crust. If you're gonna get a pre-made crust, get a pre-made crust that is the dough that will cook with the recipe. That's what I have traditionally done. But as I said, trying to learn some new skills, a little bigger than normal. The ones you buy are a little smaller. So let's see how this turns out. We're gonna take the crumble, distribute it on top of that. You want it to cover everything. So this is gonna actually bake on top and become like kind of a hard shell on top of the pie. Amazing with vanilla ice cream. If you have a different flavor of ice cream that you like to have your apple crumble pie with, I would say comments down below. A real humdinger. Let's bake this sucker. 375 for 50 minutes. Gonna set the stove to 375. All right, set the timer, 50 minutes before I get stoned. I don't know if I'm gonna get stoned today, but if I did, you never know. 50 minutes. We'll see you in 50 minutes, pie. Let's see how it turns out. Well, we've patiently been waiting. Now is the moment of truth. Hopefully it came out good. Let's take a peek. Whoa, look at that. That looks done to me. When mistakes are made, you gotta be safe, and that was just not smart. I should have used oven mitts. Oven mitts, we don't want any injuries happening, so from now on, don't attempt to remove anything from the oven with a dish towel. I don't know about you, but I think this pie looks amazing. Look at that. We have our homemade pie crust and our apple crumble pie. It's just looking delicious. Smells good, isn't it, Maya? Mm-hmm. We're not going to eat it now. We're going to wait till Christmas Eve, which is a couple days from now. And what you do is you let it rest, and then you put it in the fridge. You don't go direct to the fridge. You let it maybe for an hour, just hang out here. If you've seen the old-timey movies and cartoons, they always put the pie on the windowsill and let it cool. You let it congeal, let it like harden a little bit in itself, and that's when it's the best. Or you could just go for it. There's no rules. Just slice it, get some ice cream, just go for it. I think it's better if you let it rest for a while. But I'm not going to tell you what to do with your pie. I'm just making a suggestion. I guarantee you bring this pie to anybody, they're going to love you. They're never going to forget it. I love this pie. Thanks, Mom, for sharing that recipe, and I'm glad we still have it, and we got to share it with everybody out there. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, I just want to say, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Everybody knows. Merry Christmas. And much love to you and yours. I hope you have a nice holiday. Don't drink and drive.